afternoon. I'm Roben Bellomo with Bellomo Studios and Behn Gallery. Today, my partner Jim Hamel and I had the opportunity to speak with Sally Cutler at the Village of West Clay. We hope you enjoy our discussion and can join us soon. Thank you for taking the time with us today. I am recording now, so you guys know. And just introducing myself, I'm Roben Bellomo with Bellomo Studios, who is coming into the village, as well as Behn Gallery, Jim Hamel down below there is my partner in Behn Gallery. And we just wanted to take an opportunity today to A, introduce ourselves, B, we're going to ask you a few questions if you don't mind, Sally, and then obviously if there's any questions that you have for us, we would just love to answer those as well. Okay?
Great. Sounds like a plan.
All right, excellent. So we were hoping that you could tell us a little bit about the history of the village, or anything you can tell us about kind of how it got started from beginning to end. I understand you're celebrating 20 years, and we'd just love to hear a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Sure. Yes, we are. We're celebrating 20 years in 2020. The village was started as the brainchild, so to speak, of Brentwick Development, headed up by Tom Houston and George Sweet, both of whom continue to remain on the board of directors for the village. And so they had this idea of creating a community in Indiana, which we really didn't have anything like this, an example of a new traditional neighborhood development, or new urbanism, as it's known in architecture, which is unique in that it involves a community where you have not only all different types of residential opportunities, but also the commercial development, and the idea that it's a walkable community where people can enjoy the amenities, where they can get to the businesses, walking paths, biking paths, et cetera, all in one community. So making it sort of a city within a city. So that's the neat thing about it, is that while it's a community for the residents, it's also another extension of Carmel, so that we are open to have all kinds of residents from the nearby community come in and come to our events, enjoy our businesses, our restaurants, et cetera. So that's the thing that makes it really kind of different. There are examples of this type of community throughout the country, but really nothing like this in Indiana, and it makes us actually the largest neighborhood in the state.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so how big is the neighborhood? Can you tell us a little bit about just the geography of the space, as well as the population, et cetera?
Yeah, it always surprises people, I think, to know just how large the village of West Clay is, because we have approximately 1,100 homes, which is everything from apartments, condos, townhomes, cottage homes, to more estate type of homes. So there are about 1,100 homes, which leads us to probably about 5,000 residents when you consider in adults and children together. So that encompasses a larger geographic area also than people sometimes realize. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar with Carmel, there's what we consider the village center, but also a large area west of Town Road, and also a large area north of Main Street, all of which comprises the village, and all of which have kind of their own unique architectural styles and feels within them as well. So there's the village center, which has a lot of our businesses, like where your studios will be, but also the area uptown, which is west of Town Road, where we have also restaurants and businesses, and the Stratford retirement community as well. It's a pretty large area.
Wonderful. Yeah, it
I'm
is.
Sort of curious too,
go ahead.
As to when you were putting this together, how did you have this great sort of feel to it with these small sort of local businesses, and how did that happen? Was that just something that those types of businesses gravitated to your spot, or did you guys go try to find those kinds of businesses, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I think it was very intentional on the part of the founders to have businesses that weren't chains, that weren't drive-throughs, that weren't the kinds of things you would just find anywhere, but also to give an opportunity for smaller businesses to thrive and have a place to kind of take root and grow. So yeah, I would say that was very intentional, and that remains the case, that there are very high standards and expectations of what kinds of businesses are a good fit for the village, that are best not only for our residents and those who visit us, but also for the businesses themselves to be successful. So that's kind of been a neat thing. We have some of those more smaller businesses, more mom and pop type of operations, and it's really cool to see them grow and blossom.
And not only that too, but really like useful day-to-day stuff. Like, people are only going to go shopping every so often, but they're going to go to the cleaners and the tavern and the this and the that all the time, and the insurance agent and all these things too. So you have sort of everything covered, which is really cool.
Yeah, so it isn't just a downtown kind of shopping area, but exactly. So I live in the village, and so to me that was one of the great things. It's like, oh, I could walk to the dry cleaners, I could walk to a dentist. Now I'll be able to walk to a library, which is pretty amazing,
Yeah.
and it's been a huge addition to the village in the last year to have the library branch here as well.
Yeah, that
I don't
was
know if you've
really
been there, but you
exciting.
need to go.
I have been, and that was really exciting, and that is
Yeah.
amongst a lot of other things were part of what really engaged us and interested us in becoming part of this community in general. So
Yeah, I love reading your blog post about the village and what made it appealing to you. Plus, you have fantastic photography. I love that.
wonderful, thank you. I appreciate
Aerial,
you taking the time to
beautiful
read. That's
stuff.
great. Very good. So you said you're a resident yourself, and clearly, Jim kind of highlighted that there's a lot of businesses that are really just kind of adding to the community. How do you see the residents engaging with those businesses on a day to day, and what does that kind of look and feel like?
It's been interesting because, especially in the circumstances we've been under
Yes.
recently, there's been an opportunity for residents to really kind of rally and assist the businesses in any way they can. I'll give an example of Basket Pizzazz, your neighbor,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so they're doing a great business. And I myself have purchased a couple gift baskets from them during this time that I can send off to relatives that I can't go visit right now.
Right.
So that's been kind of cool. And also, you've seen Psalms, for instance, has kind of pivoted their business to be able to offer not only meals but also grocery items. So I think people are hugely appreciative of that, and I'm hoping that our residents all remember that and are uh, ready and willing and able to support those businesses when everybody reopens and gets back to more normal operations. But it's fun to see that, and I think sometimes there's a opportunity for people to take it a little bit for granted what we have right here. But I think we're going to all be especially appreciative here in coming months. So
Wonderful.
positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And from the business perspective, what's the community like from the businesses as just kind of a common entity and how they
Sure.
can contribute to and service the
Yeah,
residents?
I think the businesses that have the greatest success here are the ones that really engage with the village and become a part of it, so that it's not just somewhere that people walk by on the street. They're like, oh yeah, I know this guy's from this operation or that business. I know those people. So I think that's where the businesses can see the greatest value. And you all are off to a great start with that by making your presence known before you're even open, which I think is hugely beneficial. So it takes away some of that mystery or mystique about, oh,
Right.
what's going in there. People like to know, and then they really like to realize that, oh, I could just stop in that business if I wanted to anytime. Doesn't matter whether I actually need to purchase something or make an appointment for a photograph. I can actually stop in and get to know those people. And I think that's unique for our residents and our visitors as well. So, and a positive for the businesses, those that especially who choose to take the most advantage of it.
Wonderful. I'm really happy you just said that because that really hits home. I know with myself, and I'm sure Jim, we've talked a lot about it, but that
Yeah.
sense of being part of the community and having people feel it's a place that they're welcome, that they can come in, that they don't feel that it is mystified in any way, shape, or form. We're real people, but we're artists, and we have obviously services to provide, but we also enjoy just seeing people and saying hi and being part of the community and that type of thing as well. So it's encouraging to hear you kind of comment on that on your own. So
Look
that's
like
good.
you all had some plans maybe coming up for when you open to maybe have some kind of event. And I think that would be great and really well received.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, that's something we really, and I'd love to get more feedback like that from you. But we were talked about, we plan with the gallery end of things on having regular events and different types of engagement with the residents and our community, built around the art. Every time we rotate different collections of artwork, or sometimes it could be educationally based, or there'll be different types of things. And part of the research we're doing now and talking to folks like yourself is to kind of get a pulse on what the interest is, what could add value, what people, it's not necessarily something we're prescribing and saying this is what you should do. More so, we'd like to see, oh, that's something we're interested in. That might be something that we can provide and kind of tailor a little bit more to the community itself.
And another opportunity is that it's great if you have events that you're organizing and want to invite the community to. We also have a lot of events that we sponsor as a village. We have concerts, we have festivals. So those are other great opportunities, especially if those bring in a lot of our residents and also people from the nearby community. So that's a great way to become involved and have your presence kind of known and really get to meet a lot of people in a short amount of time.
Great point, and that was actually my next question. I know you guys have all these like big open green spaces and you have the meeting house and all that. So can you tell me like how do you use those and what kind of events do you guys have there already?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a full schedule of summer concerts, outdoor concerts. We do some of those in the University Green, across from where your office will be. We do some of them over on Ronald Reagan Green on the west side of the village. So we have summer concerts. We have a fall festival every year, which is a big outdoor event on the green area. We also try in all of our events to use the inside of the meeting house as well. We did that. We have a winter carnival, for instance. You can't bank on that being an entirely outdoor event. So we try and use the inside facilities as well, which if you haven't had a good tour of the meeting house, definitely want to make that happen here soon when we can. So you can see, because it's pretty big spaces that we have in there. We also have some smaller, more intimate spaces in there too. So we try and do everything inside and out where we can. So fall festival, winter carnival, concerts, all good things. We also have a great big event where we light the village up at holidays. So that is a fun one to be involved with as well. We have a breakfast with Santa. So all seasons, all year long.
Yeah, all seasons covered.
Absolutely.
Good. I'm just making a couple notes because these are some things I'm not familiar with.
Sure, that we knew. Well, until you go through a cycle, you don't really know.
Yeah. That's exactly it. And we have engaged in some, and I'm not sure if this was part of the blog that you read, but we train martial arts in the village. We were going to some of the concerts on the green, and little by little, I kind of realized we were sort of becoming part of the community, just kind of organically, and part of what I think made it felt like a really good fit for us. So slowly but surely, I'm gaining even more and more. I'm always amazed of there's more things to learn about what's happening in the village. As we start doing our event planning and that type of thing, so I'd love to get your input as far as, do you feel like there's some things that, a gallery and a photographic studio could bring to the village that maybe you feel like maybe are a little bit lacking now, or maybe not? I'm just curious to get your thoughts there.
Yeah, because something we've talked about on and off a little bit for the last couple of years is a way to kind of capture that sense of artistic relevance and what's appealing to residents and how to expose ourselves to some new opportunities. So I think just the arts in general are a really cool way for our residents to have a new experience and to kind of, as I say, take away a little bit of that mystery and see and make things more accessible to them. So I think that would be unique. I don't know if you're acquainted yet with Arena from the Art Education Studio.
Yep, I am. We had a nice chat a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we've had some great partnerships with her. She's become involved in some of our events. And so I think that's added a new level that was something that wasn't part of our activities before. So I think there is definitely a way to expand that as well with what you do, which is different.
Wonderful, wonderful. No, I did have a chance to meet Irina in person. I can't remember exactly when. Briefly, I saw her at the Winter Festival briefly, but she again was very busy, so I didn't get a chance to chat with her. And then a couple weeks ago, when all this kind of started, I reached out and just said, this might be a great time. Unfortunately, we can't sit down in person, but it might be a great time for us to talk and discuss kind of a relationship, and as far as what we can offer as a collective force in the arts within this community. And we started talking all over about education and some of the events she's doing and getting involved. So I'm sure that'll evolve more and more as time goes on.
So
go ahead.
Tell me a little bit about the gallery portion of your business and what that'll look and feel like.
Wonderful. For some clarity here, Bellomo Studios and Behn Gallery are both going to be kind of represented in a similar space. The front end of the space is going to be dedicated to the gallery. The back end is going to be really more of a functional studio space for the photographic studios. So Bellomo Studios is the photographic studio piece where we'll offer a variety of services that we can get into a different time or later. But Behn Gallery is really going to be, I've called it the fourth tier in that it's really specific to the artwork, artist-driven artwork. And myself and Jim, my partner, we are going to be the two lead artists that are going to be continually exhibiting in that space, but we expect to bring in guest artists, et cetera, on a regular basis when we have those quarterly rotations of art, maybe some other times as well. But in addition to rotating art and having artwork for sale, these will be limited edition pieces of artwork, just like a lot of fine art galleries. So we want to maintain a high level of value to what we're offering, but at the same token, you know, one of the things that really motivated Jim and I to collaborate was a common sentiment towards sort of the prestigious attitude and feeling you get when you go into a lot of galleries. They're not very engaging, sometimes not very welcoming. And although we aren't passing judgment on how those galleries run, it's not how we want to run. We want a place where people can, you know, certainly come in if they're interested in buying artwork, but also a place where they can come in and feel welcome to look, to ask us questions, to meet the artists. You know, we can hold events there that are really built around the community and being in an art space. And quite honestly, our ideas are evolving all the time. And part of the reason we're asking a lot, because this was meant to be an evolving creative space that wasn't always going to be just one way, that would continue to engage and address demands and interest and really allow us to also evolve our own creativity. Jim, do you want to expand on that? Is there anything I missed?
Just a little bit, only in two respects. And one of the reasons I am so excited about being in the Village of West Clay is because, as you talked about it, and as I've been there, like the prevailing sentiment that I feel when I'm there is that I'm comfortable there. You know, that it's really nice, and so it's great from that standpoint. And as you mentioned too, it's these great sort of local places that I'm just sort of feel very comfortable in. And that is maybe the biggest thing that Robin and I wanted to do with our gallery, was make it sort of a comfortable, welcoming place for people to come in and check this stuff out. And so that was the first thing, and why I'm excited about it. And then the second thing is the sort of rotational thing. And that's why it's really cool to hear about your events and seasonal stuff too, is that we don't intend to just sort of put up our greatest hits in terms of pictures, and then there they will be for the next 15 years, you know, but rather create a collection, and then, you know, it goes for a while, and then down it goes, and up goes the new one, and just sort of constant movement. And I think that'll really fit in too with the sort of way you guys do events and things that go on there. So really, really cool. And that's the only two things I wanted to add.
Yeah, no. Yeah, part of what will make this really interesting and fun, I hope, is, and part of the reason I decided to open a space was when I was doing artwork for the studio, I was always pretty amazed at the response I would get from my clients when we would sit down for a meeting and I might be working on a piece of artwork for them, but I would take them into my working space. And people were just amazed and they were excited about being part of the process and seeing it in motion. And part of the vision for the gallery was that it, like Jim said, and I'll reiterate, was not just to have artwork hanging like we're used to going into a gallery, but in the back end, you can have an opportunity to see pieces in production, and you can come in and talk to the artist about the process a little bit and understand kind of what goes into it. You know, some people are very interested in that part of it, as well as, and maybe even facilitating opportunities where people can go through that a little bit as well. And we really thought there'd be some good engagement there. The other thing I wanted to point out was, and part of, I think, what makes it sort of a unique gallery and space is by having two artists there, we aren't going to traditionally just always show pieces independently. Part of what we thought was really interesting and we were intrigued by, as we were part of, you know, common professional photography groups as well, as Jim and I have had opportunities to shoot together, and we were always kind of fascinated by the way different artists perceive the same topics, their perspectives. And being able to have some of our rotations of artwork, certainly there might be some times where we do decide to do independent projects, but some of those projects will be really on a common theme where we actually take a different approach to something similar and kind of show our unique thoughts on it and share that as well.
Very cool. Yeah. What's the timeline looking like for the construction?
Well,
I see it every day because I'm literally right around the corner.
I know. We are, last I heard, and it's hard to get an extremely definitive answer, understandably so, with all that's going on right now. But our original forecast was sometime in June. I do think that there's a chance it'll be delayed sometime, but I do feel like we're on point to be opening sometime this summer for sure. So as we get more answers on that. I know we've been answering a lot of questions on interior specifics, so I know that that's all in motion, and we'll continue to unfold that. So we're trying to kind of start communication, introduce ourselves, the community can see us, and we'll continue to post more blogs. You're going to see a lot more blogs, some video content to kind of help expand on our story, what's going on a little bit. But additionally, we'll, we encourage people to sign up for our newsletter and that type of thing so they can get those updates regularly. And we can do all that through our website and through our social media presence and that type of thing. Yeah.
Well, we enjoy promoting our businesses, so we'll be happy to do that and share those posts. And we're going to get you up on our website. So I've got the logos and everything. We'll get that done.
Oh, good. I'm glad you got. Thank you very much for confirming that. That's great. And wonderful. So I appreciate. Do you have any other questions for us or any other clarity we can bring to you or the community as far as who we are, what we offer? One thing that wasn't pointed out, maybe I should. Jim, my partner right there, Jim lives in Texas. He's in Austin. So although he frequents Indiana more than anybody I know, he'll probably be around sometimes, especially for events and that type of thing. But this is another way for us to engage Jim and let him be part of it and allow people to get to know him better through these opportunities as well.
Good to know. Appreciate that. No, I think, you tell your story very well. So being able to share those posts will, I think, go a long way toward, it's very personal. And I think that will go a long way toward people feeling like they really understand what's coming here. So we will definitely share that information.
Wonderful. We appreciate it very much.
Great.
So, Jim, do you have any other questions for Sally?
That is it. No, thank you. Thank you, Sally. Appreciate it.
Nice to meet you both.
Yeah, it's nice to meet you too. I'll look forward to, and I'll take you up on an opportunity to meet in person once all the dust settles here. And maybe we can have a cup of coffee and take a walk through the village together.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Take care. All right.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.